I want to give you the poll question for today, and here it is. How do you feel about Bruce Pearl and Rick Barnes? You got four options. Pearl is much better. Pearl brings baggage. Barnes is better. Barnes can't win the big one. All right, so right now, Pearl brings baggage as the leader. Take your smartphone, click it at the QR code right beneath the Hearthside Bank logo, and tell us how you feel. You get four options, so we're mixing it up a little. So you got a pro-Pearl, an anti-Pearl, a pro-Barnes, and anti-Barnes.
That's a good question.
Tell us what you think. Well, I may ask you guys what you take here. But Bruce Pearl has reached two Final Fours, lost yesterday to Florida, which takes a little of the edge off this question. But he has made the Final Four twice now at Auburn. And you get the Bruce Pearl people who are constantly just sitting and waiting for Barnes to strike out. And it's like, aha, Bruce. How much do you think the Pearl Final Four runs impacts the way Tennessee fans view Rick Barnes' success? Because if you didn't have Pearl down there, this is the greatest run in UT history. But with Pearl down there making two runs to the Final Four, people go, he's no Pearl. Does it impact it, Josh?
I think it does for some. For everybody that's held on for the last 15 years, with either hope that he could come back or just constantly comparing, because I don't think there's much question when you look at the postseason success. Rick Barnes, what he's done is the best run in Tennessee basketball history, but it's very easy if you've held on to what happened during the 6 years with Bruce Pearl, and you said, well, if you attach what he's done at Auburn, he would have done all that here at Tennessee. Yeah. And that's when you start playing these mental games that probably aren't very healthy, and that creates and then you have the division that can occur among fans who have different opinions, which will probably be reflected in the poll results. So does it affect some? Absolutely.
It might not be a fun response, but it's also kind of like apples to oranges. It's tough to compare what he's doing at a separate program with separate support, separate players, as to what he could maybe do here. You look at Tom Brady or Saquon Barkley leaving and immediately getting a Super Bowl. It's not that they weren't that important at those previous programs, organizations. They just didn't have the supporting cast to do those same things. They split this season, winning in the SEC tournament over Auburn. They have similar NCAA appearances. It's just the Final Four might be the difference, but it's tough to compare two coaches who are in two completely different situations. If you want to compare the success maybe they had at Tennessee, I think that's a different argument on who is better here. But
well, and what I'm getting at is, does the fact he's there? I think Rick Barnes. You don't think it impacts the way people look at Rick Barnes?
I do. Think so.
I think there's a chunk who look at, if Bruce Pearl isn't going to two Final Fours, I think Rick Barnes is more celebrated here right now, in my opinion.
I think it does change it to a degree. And to your point, Paige, I think it's because a lot of people see Auburn as historically an inferior basketball program, and he's done that there. And Tennessee's got more history, better,
So is that a reflection of the support that he's getting there that maybe you're not getting at Tennessee, and that's why Rick Barnes can't do it?
I don't think Rick Barnes has any lack of support at Tennessee. I just think he's topped out at he's reached a higher level. So I think it does affect it. And I think the other thing, and I mean we may see Florida win a national championship tomorrow night. I think the other thing is this era of SEC basketball. Rick Barnes has had a lot of good teams, but other programs have found higher levels of success at different times. It's been Alabama, it's been Auburn, and now it's been Florida. Other programs have topped you, so you've been very good, but you've not been the crown jewel of the SEC despite having the best sustained record during that time.
Yeah, I think the SEC presence is a big factor too. If this were happening at Arizona, if you went up to out west and did a big-time basketball program too, but it wouldn't matter as much as the fact that it's happening within the conference. Bruce has only been to the Sweet 16 at Auburn twice. He's just been to the Final Four each time. So to our previous segment of getting through, winning the big one, Bruce has done that at Auburn, and that again comes back to, I think, Tennessee fans saying, well, we would have done that by now if things hadn't gone the way they did.
Or it would have all been burnt down because he went to Auburn, he got in trouble.
Right.
People seem to
They stayed with him.
They don't pay attention
He was
to that.
here, he got in trouble. And I think the reason
Iowa got in trouble,
the reason that people, one of the reasons they love Bruce Pearl so much is because when he came, he was fun. I mean, Rick Barnes has never painted his chest.
See, I thought that was an AI image for a long time. I did
Rick
not think that
Barnes
was
has
real.
never stood outside the gym at Memphis, firing up the Tennessee fans that are there. And so I think those images carry over, and every time Well, God, he was fun, and he wins. And like Josh said, no, he hadn't won as much
Well,
as
you
Rick
guys are
Barnes
jumping
has.
ahead. Let me go ahead and put up some numbers here. I want to see if this surprises you. It speaks to what Josh was bringing up. Here's Rick Barnes at Tennessee versus Bruce Pearl at Auburn. Pearl has been at Auburn for an extra year. Would you be surprised to learn that overall winning percentage, Barnes has been better at Tennessee than Pearl has been at Auburn? SEC win percentage, Barnes has been much better than Pearl has been at Auburn. And in fact, I'm including 12 wins that were vacated by an NCAA issue. So I'm boosting Bruce's percentage there by 12 wins. That's one scandal. Then you had a different scandal. He was ineligible for an NCAA tournament. He's only been to 6. Barnes has been to 7 in one fewer year. In terms of first and second round exits, that's happened three times out of 7 trips for Barnes. It's happened 4 out of 6 trips for Pearl. 2 Sweet 16s compared to Barnes' 4. But as Josh said, and this is all that people pay attention to, 2 Final Fours. It's like the season doesn't matter except for Final Fours.
Yep.
But I think when you look at those numbers, I guarantee you there are people right now that just fell off their couch that can't believe those numbers because you never hear that talked about. You don't hear people thinking, well, Barnes is so much better than Pearl. Well, he is by the numbers, but 2 Final Fours.
Well, and here's the
two
deal.
Final Fours. That's all they focus
like
on.
you said, it's all about Final Fours. Until Tennessee makes the Final Four, then it's all about winning the championship.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's always a moving scale. The Elite Eight was a huge thing 3 years ago. Nah, we got the Elite Eight, can't get past
All right, very quick.
You're kind of putting in numbers what I was saying. Like Tennessee has been to number 1 in the polls. They've done everything else. They just have because it's a postseason sport and that's all anybody cares about. The fact they haven't been in the Final Four trumps all that other stuff.
Exactly. 2 trips to the Final Four make everyone think Pearl's 10 times better than Barnes, and it's not reality. All right, unless you just go by Final Fours, if that's all that matters. When we come back, let's talk about the news coming out of Tennessee spring practice. What's going on over there? We'll discuss that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.